Imagine this. You've reached a stage in life where the wisdom of experience is rich, yet talk of sexuality and self-pleasure still feels like an untouched topic. For some, the thought of embracing personal pleasure in their 60s, 70s, or beyond seems almost taboo, as if aging requires us to abandon desires and intimacy. But what if I told you that couldn't be further from the truth? Contrary to everything society might suggest, masturbation is not an exclusive realm reserved for the young, nor does it grow any less valuable as the years pass. In fact, it can actually enhance your emotional and physical well-being in ways you might not have considered. You might think, but surely those desires fade with time, don't they? And that's exactly the myth we're about to dismantle. You see, sexuality doesn't have an expiration date, and in the context of our senior years, fostering healthy self-care through personal exploration proves to be incredibly rewarding, from maintaining intimate connections to improving overall health. Stick with me as we break down the myths and expose the empowering realities of self-pleasure for the wiser generations. For 11 seconds. Have you ever wondered if there's a secret cutoff point where curiosity and self-exploration should simply fade into the background? Maybe you've heard whispers that once you reach your golden years, it's time to set aside any thought of personal pleasure, treating it like an unmentionable topic that belongs to a long-gone era. The reality couldn't be more different. In fact, the belief that older adults should shy away from intimate self-discovery is not only outdated, it's downright misleading. By looking deeper into the most persistent misconception about senior sexuality, you might be astounded at how easily it crumbles under the weight of evidence and experience. Stay tuned, because in the next few minutes, we're going to dive headfirst into a conversation that unveils an empowering truth. You never outgrow the capacity to nurture your well-being through self-awareness, and that includes understanding your body's evolving desires. If you think this is a subject best left in the shadows, prepare to see it in a whole new light. One that affirms your right to embrace comfort, satisfaction, and health at any stage of life. And now, allow me to officially welcome you to Legendary Space, the channel dedicated to uncovering the secrets, insights, and practical wisdom that contribute to healthy living at any age. If you've joined us from the start of this conversation, you already know we're venturing into a subject that many consider off-limits, one that's been kept under wraps for far too long. Here at Legendary Space, however, our goal is to foster open and honest dialogue, encouraging everyone to embrace new perspectives on personal well-being, especially when it comes to aspects of life that are surrounded by myths and taboos. For this episode, we've chosen to tackle a topic that even the most candid individuals often hesitate to discuss: masturbation in later life. There's a good chance you've come across at least one of the many misconceptions that claim older adults shouldn't be bothered with sexual pleasure or self-intimacy. Maybe you've heard whispers that it's inappropriate once you're past a certain point, or that it serves no real purpose beyond our younger years. Some might even suggest it's somehow harmful, immoral, or just plain irrelevant. Yet none of these whispers come from a place of evidence. They're rooted in outdated cultural beliefs that can make the natural process of aging seem restrictive and, in some cases, a bit lonely. Before we wade deeper into these waters, let me emphasize one crucial point. I'm not a medical professional. The information we share on Legendary Space is meant to educate and enlighten rather than diagnose or prescribe. If you're seeking medical, psychological, or otherwise personalized advice, please reach out to a qualified healthcare provider or counselor who can take your unique situation into account. Think of our time together here as a starting point, a launching pad that encourages you to do your own research and explore what feels right for your body, your mind, and your sense of self. So why delve into masturbation myths specifically? The answer is quite simple. Many of us have spent years, if not decades, living under the assumption that sexual well-being has an expiration date. These beliefs often stem from upbringing, cultural norms, or generational taboos that kept us from ever questioning the idea that older adults might have needs, desires, and the right to explore them freely. As a result, countless seniors end up feeling isolated, uncertain, or even guilty about prioritizing self-intimacy, despite overwhelming evidence that such practices can offer substantial emotional, psychological, and physical rewards. Here at Legendary Space, we see this as a missed opportunity to empower not only seniors, but also their families and healthcare providers by presenting a well-rounded, positive approach to life's later chapters. Yes, our bodies inevitably change. Yes, the pace of life might shift. But as many researchers and healthcare experts affirm, the capacity for pleasure doesn't suddenly vanish when you blow out the candles on your 60th, 70th, or 80th birthday cake. In fact, aging can come with its own surprising advantages, such as a deeper sense of what you truly enjoy and the freedom to explore it without the pressures you might have felt in your younger years. In the next few segments, we'll break down the most common misconceptions about masturbation in later life, from the belief that it's unnecessary at an older age to the notion that it somehow undermines partnered intimacy. We'll address how cultural silence has shaped a narrative that doesn't always reflect reality, and we'll replace those tired myths with research-backed facts, personal anecdotes, and expert insights that are difficult to dismiss. Along the way, you'll discover that rather than being an embarrassing relic of the past, self-intimacy can be a source of profound well-being, enhancing mood, reducing stress, improving blood flow, and fostering a more compassionate relationship with your own body. By the time we're done, I hope you'll feel encouraged to reflect on your own perspectives, ask questions you might have tucked away, and recognize that there's no shame in pursuing comfort and pleasure at any stage of your life's journey. If all of this sounds intriguing, then stick with us for the rest of this discussion. We promise to keep things informative, respectful, and grounded in a genuine desire to elevate the conversation beyond outdated limiting beliefs. Let's begin. As we pause momentarily, imagine a gentle shift in atmosphere, a soft swoosh or a brief slide that sweeps across your screen, signaling the beginning of a new chapter in this dialogue. This little interlude acts as more than just a decorative flourish. It's a reminder that we're moving from the foundational ideas we've laid out to the heart of our exploration. Up until now, we've confronted the silence and stigma that too often accompany discussions of masturbation in later life, and we've touched on why it's so vital to cast those myths into the light. But where do we go from here? Well, we're about to delve into the core content, those specific misconceptions that have taken root in our collective consciousness over generations. Misconceptions, by their very nature, can be stubborn. They cling to us through casual remarks, sidelong glances, and half-truths passed down like folklore, often persisting simply because they've never been robustly challenged. By busting these myths wide open, we hope to encourage not only a shift in how you see yourself, but also in how you might approach conversations with friends, family, and even healthcare professionals. If you're a visual thinker, picture each myth as a locked door, one that's kept individuals from exploring a room filled with greater knowledge and freedom. With the right key, in our case, well-researched facts and compassionate understanding, that door can swing open, giving us access to a space where our perceptions are expanded. That's precisely what we aim to do next. So let's take this moment to cue that subtle whoosh, like the sound of a gentle breeze rustling the pages of a well-worn book, inviting you to turn the page with us. If you're watching along, maybe you'll see a short animated title card or a simple text slide that reads, "Myths and Realities. Let's explore the truth together." The details are up to your imagination, but the point is that we're giving ourselves a clear cue. It's time to dive deeper. Think of this transition as a palate cleanser. We've steeped ourselves in the history of silence and learned why it's so important to break it. Now, with fresh focus, we're ready to tackle the specifics, the 5 enduring myths about masturbation in our later years that continue to shape the conversations we have or don't have. Once we lay each myth bare, it becomes easier to see how it formed, why it stuck around, and how we can rewrite it with a narrative that serves us better. Whether you're sitting in a cozy armchair, listening on a morning stroll, or simply pausing in your daily routine to reflect, allow yourself a moment of anticipation. The topics we're about to explore have the power to change the way you view personal well-being and even how you connect with loved ones. Far from being a dry list of do's and don'ts, these myths and the truths behind them offer fresh perspectives on bodily autonomy, emotional resilience, and the lifelong capacity for growth. By confronting them head-on, we can carve out space to nurture a more open, affirmative relationship with ourselves and others. So without further ado, let's shine a spotlight on the very obstacles that prevent so many older adults from enjoying the rich tapestry of intimacy that remains available well into their golden years. Let's look at 5 common myths and the realities that might surprise you. Prepare yourself for a journey that challenges preconceived notions, sparks curiosity, and above all else, reaffirms the simple yet powerful idea that every stage of life holds its own unique opportunities for discovery and delight. Some people grow up believing that once you pass a certain age, there's no point in exploring simple pleasures you once found fulfilling. It's an idea woven into casual conversations and cultural assumptions, almost like background music you don't even realize is playing. In many ways, the concept that masturbation somehow belongs to a younger crowd is one of the most persistent illusions around. But take a moment to consider the broader context of self-care. You likely recognize the importance of gentle exercise, a balanced diet, and mental relaxation at any point in life. Why then would personal intimacy suddenly become off-limits simply because more birthdays have passed? In reality, the opportunity for self-discovery and body appreciation can be just as meaningful at 70 as it was at 17, if not more so. Interestingly, a growing body of research challenges the assumption that masturbation past midlife is useless or, worse, somehow detrimental. A survey conducted by the National Council on Aging discovered that older adults who occasionally engaged in self-intimacy reported feeling less stressed and more at ease in their day-to-day routines than those who avoided it entirely. When you frame it that way, it becomes clear that self-pleasure is not a frivolous pastime, but a potentially helpful tool for supporting emotional balance and even physical health. One might compare it to a meditative practice, an intentional act of awareness, relaxation, and internal harmony. Yet there's another lingering notion some hold, that self-intimacy is harmful, either physically or psychologically. One could see how this myth took root, given the historical silence surrounding all sexual matters. When a topic is barely discussed, it's easy for confusion to creep in, leading to rumors and half-truths that can overshadow reality. The truth is that, barring any medical issues, masturbation in moderation is often deemed perfectly safe by health professionals. In fact, it can foster better circulation and help reduce muscle tension. If you happen to be dealing with common age-related changes, maybe you notice shifts in hormone levels or increased sensitivity in certain joints, mindful exploration at your own pace might even feel more comfortable than you'd expect. And if any discomfort does arise, it's simply a matter of checking in with a trusted healthcare provider to customize a plan that suits your body's current needs. Of course, even bringing up the subject can be an obstacle. Some believe masturbation is so taboo that it's never proper to mention. This unspoken code, where seniors are expected to keep quiet about pleasure, can lead to feelings of isolation or confusion. But consider how openly we discuss other facets of well-being. We talk about achieving a healthy weight, we talk about blood pressure, and we compare notes on diets and exercise. If we can talk candidly about those areas, it stands to reason we should be able to do the same when it comes to sexuality. When conversations become transparent, everything from safety measures to emotional benefits becomes clearer. It's like turning on a light in a dark room. Suddenly, the shadows of worry and misunderstanding are replaced by informed, respectful discussions. Another belief that has made its rounds is the idea that a little bit of you time somehow undermines closeness with a partner. It's as if people worry that knowing your own body will make shared intimacy stale. In reality, the reverse is usually true. Engaging in self-discovery can lead to a deeper understanding of what brings you comfort or delight. Armed with that knowledge, it becomes easier to communicate preferences, fantasies, or boundaries with a loved one. Rather than diminishing romance or desire, this clarity can inject new life into a relationship. Imagine how empowering it could feel to have the confidence to articulate, "This is what I enjoy, and here's how we might weave it into our time together." Far from replacing partner-based intimacy, self-knowledge frequently enriches it, transforming guesswork into shared discovery. One final misconception, and perhaps the most disheartening of them all, is the idea that pleasure naturally fades away with age. as if the body just shuts off that pathway entirely. In truth, sexuality adapts as we grow older. Sensations may shift, but the capacity for pleasure often remains. Many older adults find that by incorporating small adjustments, like using lubrication, taking their time, and focusing on what feels good at a gentler pace, they can experience equal or even greater satisfaction than they did in their youth. The frantic pressure to perform or meet certain expectations tends to soften in later years. Instead, there's the chance to approach intimacy with a more patient, confident mindset. If a particular technique worked perfectly decades ago, but no longer does the trick, exploring a new approach can be a source of excitement rather than frustration. When you think about it, all these myths, whether they claim it's for the young, that it's harmful, taboo, a threat to partnered intimacy, or simply doomed by the passage of time, share a common thread. They underestimate the resilience and complexity of the human body and spirit. As we navigate life's later chapters, we bring with us a lifetime of wisdom. We know how to adapt when faced with change. We understand the importance of emotional wellness, and we appreciate the power of small moments of joy. If we apply that same mindset to something as personal and fundamental as self-pleasure, the benefits can be profound. Visualizing this in action might help. You could imagine an older individual, the silver in their hair a testament to the wealth of experiences they've amassed, taking a stroll by a sunlit lake. As the gentle ripples capture fleeting reflections, each swirl of water stands for an aspect of life that remains vibrant, even in the presence of age. Just like those ripples, human desire and the capacity to feel good never truly vanish. They simply transform with the current. By rejecting outdated myths and embracing a more open, realistic outlook on self-intimacy, you enable yourself to keep exploring life's pleasures on your own terms. In the end, self-care, in whatever form it takes, is about more than momentary gratification. It's about nurturing mind, body, and soul. It's about respecting your evolving needs and granting yourself permission to remain curious. Perhaps the best takeaway is this: you have an entire lifetime of experience behind you, so you're already equipped with the understanding that your well-being matters. With a bit of courage and a willingness to challenge the old beliefs, you can discover that intimacy, especially the kind you share with yourself, doesn't have an expiration date. Instead, it can be a lifelong ally, a gentle reminder that no matter how old you are, there's always room to feel more connected to who you are. Before we wrap up this part of our journey together, let's take a moment to reflect on where we've been and how each myth has shaped, or maybe even shaken, what we thought we knew about self-intimacy in our later years. Think about how, just a short while ago, these misconceptions might have felt like undeniable truths, lodged in the back of your mind as unspoken rules of aging. Now, having pulled back the curtain on each of those beliefs, you might be feeling a whole new sense of possibility, or at least a renewed curiosity about what's actually possible. If that resonates with you, consider it an invitation to become an active part of this conversation. So let me ask you directly, have you heard these myths before? Maybe you've come across them at family gatherings, where the subject was swiftly brushed aside with awkward smiles. Perhaps you've read about them in passing, tucked away in the corner of a magazine article, just enough to plant a seed of doubt in your mind. Or maybe you've noticed friends your age perpetuating these same ideas because they too grew up in an era where silence around these topics was the norm. If any of that rings true for you, I'd love to hear about it. Share your thoughts below in the comments section, whether you're agreeing wholeheartedly, offering a nuanced perspective, or even raising a question that's been on your mind for years. Every comment helps break the cycle of hush-hush reluctance that has surrounded this aspect of senior well-being for far too long. And here's a friendly reminder. Hit that like button if you found any portion of this discussion insightful, enlightening, or maybe even a little eye-opening. You might be surprised how much that simple act does to keep these kinds of open conversations afloat in the vast sea of online content. Think of it as signaling to the digital universe and to the algorithms that shape what we see, that there's real value in breaking down taboos and myths about sexuality at any stage of life. By giving this video a thumbs up, you're not only supporting the channel, you're casting a vote for more content that tackles Big questions in a thoughtful, compassionate way. And if you've been nodding along, eagerly awaiting the next chapter in this ongoing exploration of health, wellness, and personal growth, well, that's exactly why you might want to subscribe. We're building a community here that thrives on curiosity, empathy, and the collective desire to keep learning, even when it comes to subjects that have historically been under-discussed or misrepresented. Subscribing ensures you're always in the loop when we roll out fresh conversations that dive headlong into the underexplored corners of life in our golden years. Whether it's tips for staying physically active, strategies for nurturing emotional balance, or a deeper look into the realities of intimacy across the lifespan, you'll find it all right here, waiting to enrich your perspective. So consider this your open invitation to connect with others who share a common goal. Creating a space where no question is off limits and no topic is too taboo to discuss. Leave a comment, drop a like, tap that subscribe button, or all three if you're feeling extra enthusiastic. Let's spark a conversation that goes beyond these digital walls, encouraging friends, family members, and health professionals alike to recognize just how multifaceted and vibrant our later years can be. Together, we can ensure that the wisdom we accumulate over decades doesn't go to waste, but instead fuels a more honest, uplifting, and inclusive dialogue about what it truly means to thrive at every age. Perhaps up until now, you've been listening with a piqued sense of interest, absorbing the myth-busting revelations, and maybe even questioning how your own experiences fit into this new perspective. Yet while it's one thing to understand that self-intimacy can be beneficial, it's another to know precisely how to go about it in a way that feels safe, comfortable, and enjoyable. That's where a few practical pointers can truly change your outlook. After all, if you're going to explore personal pleasure as a senior, it helps to have a roadmap for doing so with confidence and care. Think of these tips as you would any set of guidelines for overall well-being. Much like you'd learn the proper form for a yoga pose or the right technique for a low-impact exercise routine, embracing self-intimacy can be enhanced by a bit of mindful preparation. First and foremost, comfort matters. As we age, our bodies naturally evolve. Joints may feel stiffer, or certain muscles might not stretch quite as far as they once did. To make the experience more relaxing, consider using a personal lubricant or warming lotion that's suited to your skin type and sensitivity. This simple addition can do wonders for easing any discomfort, reducing friction, increasing sensation, and helping you focus on the moment rather than any potential dryness or irritation. It's a small step that can open the door to a much richer, more fulfilling experience. Once you're set in that department, think about your position, literally. If you have issues with mobility or pain in certain areas, it might be worth exploring different approaches that reduce strain on your joints. Some people find solace in lying down on a supportive mattress or using extra cushions to alleviate stress on the lower back. Others prefer a reclined chair that provides stability. The key is to experiment gently, paying attention to how each shift or adjustment feels. Your comfort is paramount, and there's absolutely no rush. In fact, the slower and more attentive you are, the more likely you are to discover new sources of pleasure and to avoid aggravating any existing aches or pains. Of course, no discussion about sexual wellness for seniors would be complete without a reminder to consult a healthcare professional when necessary. It's easy to dismiss this step, especially if you're used to thinking of self-intimacy as a purely private matter. However, there's genuine value in talking to a trusted doctor or specialist, particularly if you're dealing with chronic conditions or taking medications that might affect sensation or arousal. A brief, discreet chat could reveal helpful insights tailored to your specific health profile. Maybe there's a certain product that pairs well with your skin type, or a particular technique that alleviates discomfort if you have arthritis. Professionals are there to help you live your best life, and that includes navigating healthy sexuality in your later years. You might be pleasantly surprised by how open and supportive they can be, especially as more practitioners recognize the importance of sexual health for patients of all ages. Beyond straightforward physical adjustments, mindful breathing and gentle exercises can amplify the overall sense of relaxation. Think of it like warming up for a pleasant stroll. Just as you might do a little stretch before heading out the door, Incorporating slow, deep breaths can help center your thoughts, calm any lingering anxieties, and tune you into the subtle sensations of your body. Some individuals find a few minutes of basic stretching or even a light yoga sequence beneficial for loosening tight muscles and improving circulation. When paired with a calmer, more patient mindset, these practices help shift the focus from external pressures or old narratives that say you shouldn't be doing this at your age, to the intimate personal experience that's unfolding in the here and now. As you reflect on all these suggestions, remember that there's no one-size-fits-all formula. Each body is unique, every personal history is different, and preferences can shift over time. Embracing change, rather than fearing or resisting it, can make a remarkable difference in how you perceive your sexual well-being. Look at it as another chapter in your ongoing story of self-discovery, one where you get to decide what feels best. And if something doesn't suit you, there's freedom to tweak, pivot, or pause altogether. The ultimate goal isn't to achieve a particular outcome, it's to maintain a loving, respectful relationship with yourself, guided by curiosity and kindness. So, as you consider weaving these practical tips into your routine, take a moment to acknowledge how far we've come in breaking the silence. We've unmasked harmful myths. We've affirmed that pleasure doesn't vanish after a certain birthday. And now we're laying out the tangible steps to make self-intimacy not just possible, but genuinely nurturing. It's a testament to the fact that growing older doesn't mean surrendering to limitations. It means adapting with the wisdom you've gained over a lifetime. With this knowledge in hand, may you move forward with greater ease, more confidence, and a rekindled sense of curiosity about what your body and mind can still share with you. As our exploration draws to a close, take a moment to reflect on just how far we've ventured. We started by acknowledging the long-standing myths that hover around masturbation in our golden years. Those well-worn beliefs that too often convince people they've missed some sort of expiration date on self-discovery. We stepped into delicate territory, shining a light on why those myths persist and unraveling the threads of misinformation that keep them so tightly woven into our collective mindset. Along the way, we've peeled back layers of taboo, opening space for a healthier, kinder conversation, and offering specific tips for anyone willing to embrace this newfound perspective on self-intimacy. In every facet of life, there's an underlying truth that holds strong. Taking care of yourself is a lifelong journey, one that doesn't suddenly stall because of a certain birthday. In fact, many argue that self-care becomes more significant as we gather years and experiences. Each day, a new chance to tune in and cherish who we are. It might be easy to overlook the little details of life, but when you realize that self-discovery never grows old, it changes your relationship not just with your body, but also with the aging process itself. Instead of feeling restricted or limited, you can begin to view each transition, each line on your face, each subtle shift in sensation as part of an ongoing story that still has so much room left for deep, meaningful chapters. If this conversation sparked a new way of thinking, or at least prompted you to revisit some assumptions, you might be ready to continue the journey. There's so much more wisdom to share about the nuances of healthy aging. Whether we're talking about staying physically active, cultivating emotional well-being, or finding ways to connect more openly with our loved ones. If you'd like to stay in the loop whenever we venture into another myth-busting session or offer more practical tips, go ahead and subscribe to this channel. It's a quick action, but it means you'll be part of a growing community that values curiosity and compassion at every stage of life. Each subscription sends a signal that these conversations matter, that they deserve a place on your screen and in your thoughts. And if you're curious about where we're heading next, I've got a hint. Sometimes the best way to nurture physical and emotional intimacy is through practices that quiet the mind and gently awaken the senses. That's why our upcoming video delves into mindful self-love for seniors, a set of calming techniques designed to help you center yourself, ease tension, and deepen the connection with your own inner wisdom. So if you found this discussion insightful, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Imagine simple, soothing exercises that you can seamlessly integrate into your daily routine. helping you stay in touch with your body and spirit, whether you're starting your day or winding down for the evening. In the meantime, carry with you the understanding that your capacity for growth is far from finished. You're your own best teacher when it comes to what feels good, both physically and emotionally. Let the revelations we've discussed serve as a friendly nudge toward greater self-compassion, a reminder that you hold a lifetime of learning in your hands, and there's always room for more. Embrace the idea that no matter how many years you've lived, there's still a vital spark of curiosity and self-discovery waiting to be kindled. And with that mindset, continue exploring, continue sharing, and continue nurturing the parts of yourself that deserve your unwavering attention and care. As we reach the end of our time together, imagine a gentle fade-in of soft music or a tranquil background scene, a visual cue that this meaningful conversation is drawing to a close but not necessarily coming to an end. This isn't just about housekeeping. It's a small reminder that learning is ongoing, and there are always new paths to explore once one journey has reached its natural pause. By now, you've followed us through a careful dismantling of common myths and a guided reintroduction to how powerful self-intimacy can be at any stage in life. You've heard about the benefits, the safety considerations, and the simple, nurturing steps you can take to ensure you're treating both your body and your mind with the gentleness they deserve. Whether you find yourself brimming with curiosity or quietly reflecting on the complexities you've just uncovered, remember that community plays a vital role in transforming these insights into tangible, daily practices. So thank you for watching, for reading, for listening, and for simply being part of this open-hearted circle. Every individual who tunes in, even if only briefly, adds to a supportive network that believes in sharing and growing from all facets of the aging process, the intimate included. Each one delves into aspects of health, mindfulness, and vitality that could spark fresh perspectives or reaffirm what you already know deep down, that you are more resilient, resourceful, and deserving of pleasure than the world often gives you credit for. As the final notes play and the screen shifts, feel the warmth of genuine gratitude linger. You've contributed your time and attention, and in doing so, become part of a mosaic of viewers who believe in peeling away outdated stigmas and embracing more expansive notions of what it means to age with grace, curiosity, and fulfillment. Wherever you are, and wherever you're headed next, thank you for choosing to spend these moments here, and for stepping forward on a path that affirms the boundless capacities for growth, connection, and well-being within us all.